So, you're an elder emo. You're in your 30s, maybe 40s, and you still listen to the same music you listened to in high school. You're probably even blasting My Chemical Romance in your headphones at work, pretending to be busy. You have a lot more responsibilities than you did back then. But it wasn't a phase for you. You still love the music. You're still nostalgic for it. But you can't keep up with all the new music. You're not hip anymore. You're not with it. But that's okay. That's why I'm here. My name is Michael, and I am a card-carrying member of the Emo Council, and I'm going to fill you in on everything that you missed once life got a little bit hard, and all that free time went away. So the first thing we need to do is pinpoint the exact moment in time when emo and pop punk faded away from the mainstream, and that really correlates to when rock music faded away from the mainstream as well. I go back and forth, but for the most part I usually go to 2006 with My Chemical Romance and The Black Parade. You could also say Paramore's Riot in 2007. My main point here is that usually these two are the last albums that people really talk about and go back to from that time period. Of course, not saying that there wasn't also great music released after 2007, but we have to pick a starting point, so we're going to go basically around 2006 or 2007. Now, as to the question as to why emo and pop punk faded away from the mainstream, the answer to that question is really simple. Popular emo bands at the time either broke up or stopped making emo music. Blink-182 broke up, Fall Out Boy released the rock album and everybody hated it, and My Chemical Romance released Danger Days and everybody hated it. So what happened after you stopped listening to emo? Well, sit back, relax, get comfortable, and let me tell you a story. And for all the nerds in the comments, please remember the key word here is a brief history of what happened to emo after it wasn't mainstream anymore. So please be nice in the comments, and remember, we're all posers anyway. In the late aughts, we had something called neon pop punk. I'm sure you remember some of these bands: Forever the Sickest Kids, Boys Like Girls, All Time Low, Hit the Lights, Every Avenue. At the same time, you also had the rise of easycore, pop punk with breakdowns, and the big four of easycore are A Day to Remember, 4 Year Strong, Set Your Goals, Chunk No Captain Chunk, and I can't forget the founders of easycore and the band that gave us the word easycore, New Found Glory. That was a fun time. We hung out with our friends, ate a lot of pizza, and hated our hometown. And now we're in the 2010s. Now, a lot happened in this decade. This decade is usually referred to as the emo and pop punk revival. The 2010s saw the scene move to a more mature lyrical style. Now, of course, there were still songs about love and breakups and parties and all the good stuff, but the songs that we still remember, the bands that we still talk about, a lot of that music was more introspective. You can think of it as more emo. Not like the fake poser emo that you're nostalgic for. Don't worry, I'm just kidding. The band that set the tone for the entire scene and the entire decade was the Wonder Years, and their album The Upsides. Their lyrical style, the upbeat anthemic songs, took over the scene. Another band that took over the scene and was very popular was The Story So Far. They gave us angry, finger-pointy pop punk. If you wanted pop punk with songs about love and breakups, but you wanted your pop punk to have a little more grit, you listened to The Story So Far. There are so many bands that define the 2010s, but a few that you have to check out are Modern Baseball, Title Fight, Neck Deep, Turnover, Tiger's Jaw, and again, there are so many more. The 2010s was also largely shaped by social media. Social media made it easier for bands to connect with fans and share their music all across the world. Blogs, Facebook groups, Twitter, Tumblr were all platforms that were very important in the scene. You could keep up on what was happening in the scene, you could learn about new music, new tours, and everything else that was happening. Social media erased any distance between fans and bands and fans and other fans. It made this worldwide revival feel so small and tight-knit. Bands like Modern Baseball also used social media in their lyrics, and it really captured the entire vibe of the social media age and what was happening with pop culture at the time. The 2010 scene is also pretty much responsible for the vinyl resurgence happening right now in current day. I mean, back in the 2010s, there was nobody pressing vinyl but bands in the scene. Bands were also no longer afraid to call themselves emos, so this led to a renewed appreciation for older bands like American Football, The Promise Ring, and Sunny Day Real Estate. I also have to mention that there was a lot of great music released in the punk scene around this time as well. You can check out bands like the Menzingers, Pup, and Joyce Manor. In the early 2020s, we had a mini emo and pop punk revival in the mainstream with artists like Machine Gun Kelly, Demi Lovato, Avril Lavigne, and Olivia Rodrigo all releasing pop punk music, but very much using the emo aesthetic. And now in current day, we have the modern scene, which most people refer to as the fifth wave of emo. Bands like Pool Kids, Hot Mulligan, Origami Angel, Benquat are all moving emo forward. But always remember that real emo only consists of the DC emotional hardcore scene and the late 90s screamo scene. And that's everything that you missed. Now maybe life did get a little bit harder than you thought it would. But hey, look at you now. You're still here. And I'm so proud of you. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to have a lot of links in the description about more in-depth videos if you want to learn more about emo, pop punk, and punk rock history. Please like the video, it really helps me out. Please subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.